saying no to plastic, using biodegradable garbage bags, or just buying locally grown produce. They're all simple and easy methods we can all use to make a better tomorrow. But what makes a really good green substitute? If you take, for example, this metal straw, it integrates easily into your life, looks, well, just like a plastic straw, and does the job it's intended to do. And these are the questions we're going to pose of the MG ZS EV today. Can it be the perfect mobility solution to replace your oil-burning car? So does it look the part? Well, aside from this EV badging on the rear and an electric badge on the front quarter panel, the MG ZS EV does look like a conventional compact SUV, doesn't it? In the front, that grille, well, there is a radiator behind it that cools all the electric componentry, but behind the logo is your charge port. That said, the MG ZS EV doesn't really stand out from the crowd, but prefers to fly under the radar. If you want to be green and not shout it out to the world, this certainly is one way to do it. In addition to the badging, the one other subtle green design cue are the windmill-inspired 17-inch alloy wheels, while the London Eye headlamp DRLs are a modern reminder of Morris Garage's British heritage. Other design elements are the Leopard's Leap-inspired shoulder line and a panoramic sunroof, just like the one in the Hector, but on this smaller SUV, it looks even larger. In terms of road presence, it gets just as much attention as any other compact SUV on the roads, and looks just a little larger than the Creta or the Kona, its direct rival. This is a 7.4 kilowatt AC home charger. Well, I say home, but MG is willing to install this either at your home or your office, or well, anyway, any place you choose. And its cost is included in the cost of the car. And let's just see how it works. So you unplug this and that opens this hatch up, after which it's a little bit difficult because the hatch covers your view, but once you get this through, plug it in and it'll start charging. This AC charger will charge up the ZS EV to 100% in 6 to 8 hours. MG have also installed DC fast chargers at their showrooms, and you can have your MG charged up to 80% in 50 minutes. There's also a 10 amp charger that fits in the boot of the ZS EV and plugs into any 15 amp wall socket, but it will take between 16 to 18 hours to charge the 44.5 kilowatt hour batteries to 100%. MG have also set up AC fast charging stations in other MG dealerships across the country, along key routes in satellite cities, with more being added into the mix. And the fifth element in MG's 5-pronged charge solution is a roadside assistance service. Estimated time of arrival for this service is an hour, and they'll top you up with roughly 30 kilometers of range to either get you back home or to the nearest charge station. It's nice and comfortable here. Let's talk about the driving position first. I've got a 6-way electronically adjustable seat, a tilt adjustable steering wheel. There is no reach adjust, but at my height, 5'10", I found a really comfortable driving position. If you are a little taller, you may find that you would prefer a little bit the steering to come a little bit closer to you, but it's manageable. So coming to the materials, there's a nice premium feeling leather on the steering wheel. The central console is also soft touch leather wrapped, as is here, and the console is also got a nice leather soft touch to it. Yes, there are a few hard plastics, but you won't feel them in your daily usage, and it feels quite nice and premium in here. And that's a nice change from the Hector. So part of that is down to the fact that one of MG's partners in China is Volkswagen, and a lot of the parts, the steering wheel, these lovely nice round AC vents, and even the weight that they have, all feels a little familiar. Another thing that we really like is this 8-inch touchscreen. The resolution is crisp, it's nice and snappy to use, and this new version of iSmart is quite an improvement over what we've seen in the MG Hector. Yes, there are maybe a few fine tweaks that are still possible with some of the apps that are on it, but it is in general quite a nice improvement. And another nice thing that's going to help with your range anxiety, something that most electric car owners are going to have, is the fact that you can check your charge, how much charge is left in the batteries, in almost 4 places. So it's always displayed on the touchscreen, it's available in the central information display, and it shows where a conventional fuel indicator would be in a bar format as well. And that's a nice touch. Space is something we really appreciate in our SUVs, space and comfort. And that's set to my driving position, so I'm 5'10". As you can see, I have quite a bit of knee room and I can stretch my legs out if I need to under the seat as well. Few niggles, because the seat is set low with the batteries under the floor, you do lack a little under thigh support, and it would have been nice if we could have had a flip down armrest. Some other features in the rear seat are that there is a storage space for my cell phone and a standard USB charger, but no rear AC vents. As you can see, for my height, headroom is fairly decent. There's quite a bit of room clearance between there. In terms of safety, the ZS EV offers 6 airbags, ABS and EBD, disc brakes on all 4 wheels, hill descent, pedestrian alert system, ISOFIX child seats, and even rear seat belt reminders. It's also received 5 stars in a recent Euro NCAP test. Though the test car was a Euro spec car and was equipped with radar assisted safety features that the India spec car misses out on. And so we're now down to the final test, and it's the most important one. Does it drive like a regular IC engine car? And the short answer is yes. As soon as you get in, it's immediately very natural to drive. So throttle connection to that electric motor is intuitive. The steering feel is nice, and the only thing that we would have liked was just a little bit more bite to the brakes. There's also just a little bit of fun that you can have. So the electric motor makes 143 PS of power and 352 Nm of torque, and it's the torque that makes the biggest impression here. To put its performance in perspective, the acceleration is close to a powerful executive sedan like the Octavia, for example, and it's quite exhilarating and addictive as well. So you also get drive modes. There's 3 drive modes: Eco, Normal and Sport, and toggling between them changes the range that you can get, also the throttle response. So right now in Eco I have 150 kilometers of range. If I switch to Normal, I have 143 kilometers of range, and switching to Sport drops the range down to 129 kilometers of range. While the power modes do change the throttle response, you still get full power when you fully step on the throttle. So you also have a KERS system, and that stands for Kinetic Energy Regeneration System. What that does is it adds back charge into your battery, and how that feels when you're driving is it adds a little bit of braking force when you get off the throttle. A better way of describing that is like a regular IC engine car. When you get off the throttle, the engine braking that you'd feel in the lower gears, first, second and third, it feels just like that. The 3 levels are light, medium and heavy, and light feels like the car is coasting to some extent. Medium is when you get off, there is a little bit of braking force applied, and heavy, there's a little bit more braking force. What we found on our drive is that you can use heavy both in the city and on the highway as well. What we did find is that level 3 is not exactly the perfect one pedal solution. And what I mean by that is you can't just use the throttle pedal in the city. You do need, in some cases, to get on the brakes. When it comes to the ride quality, it is on the firmer side, but it's nice and polished as well. So there is that give to the suspension. It also settles very nicely. On sharper bumps, you do feel them a little, though the suspension does manage to take the initial edge off them. In terms of range, the ZS EV comes with an RI certified 340 kilometers of range. On our drive that included driving from Gurugram to Greater Noida, through dense fog, while we were switching through all the drive modes, and at the same time enjoying the rush of sport mode. So we did lose around 100 kilometers of range in the 65 kilometers that we traveled. That said, with the number of charging options and keeping in mind that like a regular oil burning car, you don't always have to drive around with a full tank. The ZS EV will easily handle a week's worth of office trips, even without topping up. And remember, just one night on the AC home charger would be enough to bring it back up to 100%. So by the time you're watching this video, bookings for the MG ZS EV would have already opened for 50,000 rupees. And in January, it's going to launch. We expect it to be priced around the 25 lakh mark. And from what we've experienced today and the segment that it's in, we think that's fair. So coming back to our original question, does it make a good green substitute? It certainly looks the part, has the features and the space that you would expect from a compact crossover SUV. And most importantly, it drives and behaves, well, just feels like a regular car. So can it? We certainly think it can.